Got an engine full of steam and a pocket full of dreams. Everything that I believe, I'm a rocket on my sleeve. You know, stopping's not an option, and the oxygen I breathe is the confidence I conquer with, and honesty is key. I don't follow any fads, follow any leads. I got hollows in the mag, and a hollow got to feed. I'm the best all in as an artist. Say it with my chest, so they calling me the hardest. Regardless, a sergeant who's marching, tell people are free. Target the market that won't bend the knee. Got pride in my spine, the offended could leave. Put my life on the line for defending this speech. Stealing your worth, are you careless and weak? They want the earth to inherit the meek. Forever I'm the leader that is killing all this narrative. I never be defeated, William Wallace in my heritage. I'm an outlaw, cause I mean what I say. I'ma say what I mean till I'm gone. I don't care about y'all. I'm the truth, I'm the dude, I'm the one, I'm the king, I'm the dawn. I don't care about laws. I'ma break all the rules till I rule. Bitch, I came and I saw. Motherfucking outlaw. And I'ma do what I do, fuck you, I'ma say what I want. Think of all the bloodshed just so we be free. Fuck your meds and the feds and the CCP. While they hover and they creep, y'all can leave me be. Cause the government is dirty as the VP's knees. They need you weak, they need you on the EBT. Need you obese and asleep so you don't see these D's. Deceit and greed, but I keep the receipts to read. Fuck a mask and a vax and the CDC. For the static in the attic, I keep AR kits. 2 automatic, you sporadic like J.R. Smith. 45 got a kick to probably break y'all wrist. Shorty ride till she dying, she ain't take no shit. Let the Draco spit, y'all are monsters. I'm just trying to live and you telling me I'm hostile. Y'all fell for a trap and they selling you imposters. And that's no cap like the NFL roster, bitch. I'm an outlaw, cause I mean what I say. I'ma say what I mean till I'm gone. I don't care about y'all. I'm the truth, I'm the dude, I'm the one, I'm the king, I'm the dawn. I don't care about laws. I'ma break all the rules till I rule. Bitch, I came and I saw. Motherfucking outlaw. And I'ma do what I do, fuck you, I'ma say what I want. When you pop on the news, they creating hate. And they prop up these goons who fillet the state. Bunch of pawns on the board, but I can't relate. I'ma die on my sword or I'ma break the gate. And I'm fed up with the nonsense. Y'all just gonna bury your whole head up like an ostrich. I fight as an example, like I sit back and watch this. I right to getting trampled like a Travis Scott mosh pit. I'm an outlaw, cause I mean what I say. I'ma say what I mean till I'm gone. I don't care about y'all. I'm the truth, I'm the dude, I'm the one, I'm the king, I'm the dawn. I don't care about laws. I'ma break all the rules till I rule. Bitch, I came and I saw. Motherfucking outlaw. And I'ma do what I do, fuck you, I'ma say what I want. I'm an outlaw, cause I mean what I say. I'ma say what I mean till I'm gone. I don't care about y'all. I'm the truth, I'm the dude, I'm the one, I'm the king, I'm the dawn. I don't care about laws. I'ma break all the rules till I rule. Bitch, I came and I saw. Motherfucking outlaw. And I'ma do what I do, fuck you, I'ma say what I want.
To our Hotep, especially when the Hotep got the goddess mask off. He's working his ass off, trying to tell y'all goofy dudes what they planning. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. No threat to our Hotep, especially when the Hotep got the goddess mask off. He's working his ass off, trying to tell y'all goofy dudes what they planning. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand.
What up? Happy Monday. Welcome to Cannon Speaks. I am Cannon Hotep. I'm happy you guys could join me today. I got a special one for you today. So, for those of you who don't know, there was a story here in Baltimore back in 1999 that was made famous and got a lot of national recognition due to the hit podcast Serial. It was the case of Adnan Syed. He went to a school called Woodlawn High School, which is a school I went to. And he was charged and convicted with the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Heyman Lee. All right. Oh, let me see something. How's my camera looking like this? Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. So he was convicted and charged with the murder of his girlfriend, Heyman Lee. Now there was a lot of drama, a lot of inconsistencies in the story. There's a lot of issues with the case, right? He ended up serving 23 years, and today he walked out of jail. Judge vacated the sentence. After 23 years, the judge vacated the sentence. Some people are saying, man, that's just time served, and he's out. You know, some people, you know, which, you know, I'm sure Adnan is looking at it as a victory. He maintained his innocence for 23 years. The serial podcast, you know, spawned other documentaries like the HBO. I believe it's the case against Adnan Syed. I think it was on HBO. Or the case of Adnan Syed on HBO. I encourage you guys to go look at that. It was actually curated and put together by his cousin, which I believe she runs something called the Innocence Project. Anyway, so I wanted to get into that and talk to you guys about that because I went to Woodlawn High School. I actually got there. So this happened, I believe he was arrested and charged February of 1999. I got to Woodlawn in September of 1999. However, it was a big to-do at school. A lot of people were talking about the case. A lot of people were talking about what happened, whether they thought he did it, whether or not, you know, whether or not he thought he did it or not. So we're gonna get into that. And if you guys have anything to contribute to it, if you've listened to the podcast Serial, I would like to know. The question of the day is, if you listen to Serial, or you're familiar with the case, what do you think? Do you think Adnan do you think Adnan did it? Do you think he was innocent? Also, I would like to know, do you think they had enough evidence at the time to even convict him in the first place? Again, leave that in the comments below. If you're new, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification icon. It's supposed to let you know when I got new content coming out. Please share this stream. Let people know that we're live. Let people know we're live. Anyway, also, just to give you guys a heads up, if you want to support the channel, you can support it through a super chat. I'll read your questions live on the stream, or you can join the Canon Army, become an A1 member, just for a cup of coffee, $3 a month. Hit the join button on your screen. Or if you want to do a direct donation, my Cash App Canon Hotep. Now, what I'm doing with my Cash App, if you donate $25 or more, again, if you donate $25 or more, you get this cool Hotep t-shirt designed by yours truly, Canon Hotep. You get this cool Hotep t-shirt. It'll come white with black, or you'll get black with silver, depending on which one you want. The way to do that is go into my Cash App, donate $25 or more. In the description, put your email address. Once you do that, go to canonhotep@gmail.com and let me know your shirt size and what color you want, and the address that you would like it shipped to, and I'll knock that out for you as a thank you for supporting the channel. Again, in order to get yourself one of these cool Hotep t-shirts, either in the white and black or the black and silver, you guys see me wear the black and silver before, $25 donation to my Cash App. Put your email in there, then go to canonhotep@gmail.com. Put the color of the shirt you want, your size, and your address to where you would like it delivered to, and I'll take care of that for you guys as a thank you for supporting the channel. Anyway, let's get into it. So, this is from the Baltimore Sun. Adnan Syed walks out of Baltimore courthouse after judge overturns his 1999 murder conviction. Adnan Syed, the man whose legal saga spawned a hit podcast Serial, walked away from a Baltimore courthouse Monday, free of shackles after 23 years. He smiled while descending the courthouse steps as raucous cheers presumed innocent in in the 1999 killing of Heyman Lee. Baltimore City Circuit Judge Melissa Finn overturned Syed's murder conviction after prosecutors raised doubts about his guilty findings because of the revelation of the alternative suspects in the homicide and unreliable evidence used against him at trial. Again, this was in 1999. Saying her ruling was in the interest of justice and fairness, Finn ordered Syed released on a GPS monitor while the Baltimore State's Attorney's Office choose whether to drop his charges or try him again for murder in his ex-girlfriend's death. Prosecutors have 30 days to make a decision. We got Summer Langner. What's going on, Summer? I appreciate it. She says, innocent, not enough evidence. I hear that. Again, if you're familiar with the case, I'd like to know what you think. Do you think Adnan is guilty, innocent, or do you think, or do you think that it wasn't enough evidence in the first place to convict him? So let's get into it. All right, guys. So I wanted to play some serial clips, but copyright stuff, I don't feel like dealing with that. So we're just going to go, from memory, and we're just going to, discuss it. All right. So now when Serial first came out, right, I didn't know what it was. Everybody kept talking about this Serial podcast. And my dumb ass is thinking like, what the fuck everybody want to talk about cereal for? Like I'm thinking breakfast cereal, right? I'm thinking breakfast cereal. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there like, okay. And then one day I was listening to this podcast called Big O and Dukes. And if you live in the DC area, you know who Big O and Dukes is. If you live in the DMV, and they were talking about it, and I was like, why do people really want to? And then they started getting into the details of the podcast, and then I heard them say Adnan Syed, and I said, why does that sound familiar? And then they mentioned Heyman Lee and Lincoln Park, and I said, oh, that's the girl that got murdered at my high school, and they found her body in Lincoln Park. I said, okay, now I'm interested in listening. So this was back in 2014, I believe. 2014, 2015 when I started listening to it. And there were a lot of interesting details that both surprised me, and both was like, I don't know about that, right? So this is what is alleged to have happened. This is what the prosecutors, excuse me, and the detectives said happened, right? Now, we got Charlie and Mama in the building. She says, been following for a long time. The case was not strong. Hey, you sound like you was Summer. So check it. So in the so this was like winter of 1999. I think it was like December or January or something like that. It was alleged that Adnan Syed had gotten into the car with then ex-girlfriend Heyman Lee. They drove to a nearby Best Buy where he strangled her, put her car in her trunk, and then with the help of a quote-unquote witness, drove her to Lincoln Park. And buried her body in a shallow grave, right? She was then found by a groundskeeper for Coppin State University. Somehow I guess he was going into the woods to quote unquote take a piss, and then he came across the body. Adnan was suspect number one. They arrested him, and little did he know, the guy that was quote unquote the witness snitched on him, right? He snitched on him. But his testimony was shaky at best. And that's why I really wanted to play some of the serial clips. But again, copyright problems, can't do that. It'll get the stream taken down. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you some of the inconsistencies that I heard while I was listening to the podcast. DeMars Burton in the building. What's going on, DeMars? He says, where can I get a Hotep Nation flag to hang in my garage? Is that right? You want a Hotep Nation flag? Okay. Let me get with HJ on that one. Hotep Nation, that's his baby. You know, I'm a part of Hotep Nation, but anything that has to do with Hotep Nation as a whole, that's HJ. We'll get with him. I'm gonna ask him about that. I'll get back to you guys on that. We got Jegelber, we live. Shout out to Cannon Hotep for another dope episode, I'm sure. Always informative. I appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping through. Again, if you're new, hit that like, hit the subscribe button. Please share this stream. Please let people know we're live. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so the first red flag for me in the podcast with how everything went down was the way they said that they got from Woodlawn High School to, or the time that they got from Woodlawn High School to the quote unquote to the Best Buy, right? So they said that they got, so back then Woodlawn High School, we got the best. So you know what? Let's do this. I need somebody to bounce this off of. Hold on. Let me do this real quick. This will be fun. Bear with me 1 second. Let's do this. Is this it? It's right here. All right, let's see. Appreciate you hanging in here with me. Give me one moment. Let's see. Charlie and Mama says, Asia was never called to testify by Gutierrez. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But like I said, if you're new, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification icon. It'll let you know when I got new content coming out. Let's see. Why is this not working? Let's see. What the hell is that? Disconnect. You know what this is. There we go. All right, let's do this.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, sis? You feel like discussing this Adnan Syed stuff with me on live?
Sure.
All right, let's get to it. All right, one's in the chat if y'all can hear. This is my sister. She's on the line with me. One's in the chat if y'all can hear her. One's in the chat if y'all can hear her. Just want to make sure before we continue. What's going on, George? Salute to you. One's in the chat if y'all can hear. Let me know. Let me see. Okay, it looks like everything's coming through. All right, cool. We good. What's up, Emmanuel Presley? So what's good, DMV or DMW? All right, let's get to it. So, all right, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was saying, right, is the first inconsistency that I saw was when the timeline that they gave went between the time school ended, which we know school ended at 2:15 every day, and the time they got to the Best Buy. That was my first red flag because I remember like it was hard as hell to get out that parking lot. Like, so
number one.
Yeah. So like, for example,
number one.
So for example, right, guys, so the parking lot, so you got the parking lot, there's 3 levels to the parking lot, and the driveway to the school is shared. So when you're leaving, you gotta beat the buses out of the driveway, so the parking lot and the bus loop all funnel together. So I'm sitting there like, if they got to Best Buy, I think they said they got to Best Buy by 2:30 or something like that. All this was supposed to take place at 2:30. He strangled her at 2:30. I'm like, it's no way possible, because I was like, they would have been waiting at the front door. The bell would have had to rung. They would have to run for the car, get in the car, not only beat the buses, they got to beat everybody else getting in their cars and leaving.
It was a magic trick if he did it.
Right, exactly. So not only that, you had like, I remember Ms. Butler, she testified.
Correct.
She said that she saw her the day that happened. She said that she, after the buses left, then she saw her drive through the bus loop because she came and got some chips or something like this. Right? Then you had other friends saying, you know, they was talking to her before she left school that day. So I'm like, okay, if they talked to her before she left school and Ms. Butler seen her come around the bus loop and came and got, you know, some a bag of chips or whatever. How the hell did they make it to Best Buy by 2:30? On top of that, nobody saw Adnan with her.
Exactly. And that's why I put in the comments that there was a young lady, I believe her name was Aisha. She had a whole testimony prepared or a letter or something that she had written for Gutierrez. That Gutierrez is his original attorney, had totally disregarded, where she, if I'm not mistaken, and this is me also going off of my memory from the Serial podcast. It's been so long since I listened. But she said that she not only saw Adnan in the library, but she may have engaged him in conversation.
Right, I remember
at
that.
the time that this was going on. And they never called this girl to testify.
That's
never.
Right. That's right. Because she said she heard the podcast and then she recalled it. She said that she said she saw him in the library, and not only that, she was outside waiting for her boyfriend who was late for picking her up, and Adnan was standing there with her, just talking to her, you know, until he got there.
At the time, allegedly, that all of this was going on, you had eyes on him.
Right.
You had eyes on him that puts him at, they could have checked anything, the cameras at that library, they could have checked the cameras across the street at the 7-Eleven that probably would have picked him up standing by the library. There's so many things, there's so many holes in this whole thing. It's super crazy. It's super crazy.
Right. So she saw that. So she saw she heard the podcast and she came forward. Now remember that. Now when she came forward, she was supposed to then testify. Was like a few years back, and I believe the prosecution got that thrown out. Like they somehow they got that thrown out, and the court didn't hear her speak. Am I right?
If I remember correctly, and unfortunately, I think this attorney has passed away since all of this has gone down. But I think that the ball was dropped by Gutierrez. The ball was dropped by his first attorney. She botched it.
Right. She had.
If I'm not mistaken,
I think she had she was sick. I just know she was sick, and they said that she completely botched the case. 100%. She 100%. I remember they said that Aisha wrote a letter to Adnan saying that she remembered and all of that stuff, and Gutierrez she dropped the ball on that. Now I don't remember the kids. Who's the dude that was supposedly the star witness? Who his whole testimony?
I think it was Jay. I think his name was Jay.
That
the
was
black kid, Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
So there was
you know, they never looked at him, but he was worth a damn look too.
Yeah. Considering he had Adnan's car. And he had Adnan's phone that day.
Exactly. So he was worth a look too. Yeah.
Right. Now Jay, the police picked him up for something else, and he started. I forgot what they picked him up for. They picked him up out of his neighborhood for doing some crazy shit, right? Then he, I guess, in order to get off of whatever the hell they picked him up for, which I guess was like weed or something stupid, he gave up Adnan on saying that he was the one that offed Heyman Lee. But his story was so misconstrued. His story was not misconstrued.
It was over the place.
All over the place. He said that he had Adnan's car while Adnan was at school. Then he said that he went to Patapsco State Park, and went there to smoke some weed. Then he said that he went to one of his friends' house. I forgot the girl's name at the time. And then he said that Adnan called him from the payphone at Best Buy. Now, I don't remember a payphone being at Best Buy. I don't.
Either.
Now, I do remember a I do remember a payphone being at that Exxon. You know that Exxon that's next door.
Yeah,
like,
most gas stations still had payphones there. But I mean, what year are we talking about here? That you just want to have a payphone outside of a Best Buy? Like, what?
Right. It's 1999. This happened, right?
What year are we talking? Right.
So,
what are we talking about here?
So I don't remember. I'd never remembered a payphone ever being at Best Buy ever, and I used to always be in at Best Buy. But I do remember a payphone at the Exxon station. I do remember a payphone. I believe it was a payphone at the McDonald's too. But I definitely remember a payphone at the Exxon station. So, so Jay, you know, it sounded like in the way that him wanting to get off on whatever the hell he got picked up for. He said that he got He said that he got a call from Adnan on his own phone. So Adnan called his own cell phone because Jay had it and said, "I need your help," because he said I killed the bitch or whatever he said. And Jay allegedly went and helped Adnan bury her body and get rid of the quote unquote evidence. But his story seemed like his story not only seemed first off, his story was inconsistent, you know what I mean, and the detectives knew that, but also it seemed like his story was being led. His story was being helped along by the detectives. There were parts of the podcast when you would hear some of the some of his quote unquote testimony, and you can hear it sounded like they were giving him cues by knocking on the desk when he would get something wrong or he was stuck, and then he was, you know, kind of like say to the affirmative, right, and say to the affirmative what they wanted him to say. Also, they tried to do if you guys ever seen Paradise Lost, they tried to blame it on his religion, saying that his religion doesn't take kindly to breakups and this and that, and that they, you know, are you know, they tend to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, they wilding. Like, it's messed up because people was like, yo, Adnan was a ladies' man. He broke up with Heyman Lee, but he had other girls. So that was another thing. That was just, you know, that's, you know, friends and some of his cousins and stuff like, yo, Adnan had other girls. Like, he was, you know, he wasn't all distraught and broke up over her.
But let's just also put it on the table. We're not going to ignore the fact that his religion, you know, it's definitely why they went after him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Definitely why they did not even consider anybody else. What did they say when they asked for I think it was bail. They said something about, you know, no, because he has family in another country. He's a flight risk. Yeah, they said he was. What money are they going to send him there with? You know, if they put that out there and they didn't care that he has family in another country, he can't, you know, no bail. Yeah,
they said he was a flight risk because he had family in I guess I
want to say Pakistan.
Pakistan, yeah. He had family in Pakistan or some shit like that. So they said he was a flight risk and kept him locked up. But the thing about it was their entire case was made around the kid Jay. And exactly. I encourage everybody in the stream to go back and listen to the Serial podcast. Listen to the entire podcast, and you'll hear what we're talking about. It was completely inconsistent. Now we move on to the cell phone records. Right? So in the second episode, the second I guess season of Serial, they continue with the Adnan stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But they were talking about cell phone records, and the cell phone records did not. So the towers that were being pinged as calls were being made from Adnan's phone and stuff like that, or to Adnan's phone, didn't match where Jay said he was, or where Jay said things were happening. So you had the cell phone records inconsistent with Jay's testimony.
Exactly.
But it seemed like the courts and the detectives chose to ignore that fact, which was really interesting to me.
They was really picking and choosing.
Yeah, they were
really picking and choosing because they felt like they had their man. Whatever their motivation was, they felt like they had their man, and they was gonna make that case stick,
right?
Regardless to what who they had to leave off the witness stand. This inconsistent. I mean, I done heard kids tell better stories than Jay. That story was so crazy. And then I don't know if you're just saying exclusive to the details of the Serial podcast, but more was revealed in the HBO special. Did you see that?
So I did mention that before I called you. What was it called? What was that called? Was it called a case against Adnan Syed, or was it called the case of Adnan Syed? I can't remember what the HBO. Let me see. HBO.
I was about to say I don't remember.
Let me see. HBO series. It was called the case against Adnan Syed. That was the name of the HBO documentary. Like I said, I encourage you guys to go watch that as well. It was really interesting, right? Yeah. So now another thing they were trying to do, so they used a lot of minutia as well. So for example, right, they was like, well, he said that he was at the school and he wasn't at the school. In reality, he was at the library. Now,
it's right on the property.
It's right on the property of the school. And so as I'm listening, because I went to Woodlawn, I was actually there when all of this was actually going down. Like I said, this happened in February of 99. I got to school in September of 99. So, you know, this was fresh. People were still talking about it. Like I said, you had classmates saying, yo, he did that shit. You had classmates like, no, he didn't do that. We still to
you
this
had
day,
classmates now that I won't name him, but you had a real big classmate that everybody knows that I was speaking with literally 30 minutes ago, and he said at 13, 14 years old, he was like, man, he did it. But today he went back and did some research, and he was like, my God, I'm sorry, man. I'm glad he got his life back. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry you spent so much time there. These documentaries really help to change people's perspective and mind on the case. Yeah.
We got Demon in the building. He says, never heard of this case, but 20 years is a lifetime. Yeah, bro. 20 years is a lifetime.
23
years. Yeah, 23 years, yo. That's what I was like, yo, he damn near served a life sentence. And it like, he's like 25 to life. You know what I mean? That's time served. We got Jimmy Doss Hotep in the building. He said, thank you for joining us, Miss Ashley. He says, salute to you. And we got didn't do nothing. He said, cops are lazy like everybody else. They like the cases easy, of course, yeah. Especially in the 90s, man. Especially in the 90s, they wanted their cases like as easy as possible. If they could pin it on
they thought they had their man. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't show us the crime. We'll show you the man. They was doing, you show us the man and we'll give you the crime.
We'll create it.
Right. And that's in this case, in my opinion. And like I said, if you guys go back and you listen to the Serial podcast, if you go watch the 2019 document. It was 2019, really? Was that 2019?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Damn. So if you go back and watch the 2019 right here, case against Adnan Syed, it's real interesting. It's a really, really pivotal case.
It presents another suspect.
Right. Exactly. You know,
they have her diary entries.
Right. So let's get to the other suspect. So, now I'm not sure if it's the same one you're talking about.
Lens Crafter.
Yes. Thank you. What was his name? Don. That was his name. Don. That was his name. So she had started fucking with an older dude that worked at the Lens Crafters in this mall called Owens Mills Mall, which I live about 5 minutes from where it used to be. So she started messing with this guy, Don, right? Older dude, sure he wasn't supposed to be messing with her. She was jailbait at the time for him.
Right.
Because, you know, were they seniors or were they juniors at the time? I think they were seniors.
I don't recall. I just know that great emphasis was made that he was older.
Yeah. So, she was either 16 or 17, and he definitely was over 21 over. So she would spend all this time with this guy, Don. And then come to find out, the day that she went missing, he wasn't at work. Not only was he not at work, he his mother clocked him in as if he was there. Right? So to give you guys a perspective on what they look like, let me see what's this. Shucks. Yeah, here we go. Let's just do it like this. Boom. So this is Adnan right here. It's Adnan, and this is Heyman Lee. Pretty girl, good looking guy, right? You know what I mean? I think this was their junior prom. I think he was the prince of the prom or whatever it is, prom prince, because I think he was a junior prom prince, right? And she was prom princess, and this is them right there, right? So both of them were athletes. He played football, he ran track. She played field hockey, and I think she did something else as well.
She was a cheerleader too.
Cheerleader, yeah. So they were like, you know how you go to high school and you got that couple in high school, everybody know and everybody love them. It was these two here, right? But anyway, let's get back to Dawn. So Dawn, he's missing from work the day she goes missing, and his mother clocked him in like he was there. It's reported that now here go a picture of, let me see. Here's a picture of him in the football uniform. So it was alleged that his mother said that he came in the house, he was sick, he was sweating, and I believe he made reference that he might have did something wrong. Lo and behold, he was never investigated by the police. They just completely overlooked him, right? Now, like I read in this Baltimore Sun article, they saying that there has been some revelation of some new suspects, which is really interesting to me because I'm wondering if this gentleman is a suspect. Because I think he should have been. I feel like they feel like they had the easy case with Adnan, and they went on a complete witch hunt. And I'm not going to say he didn't do it. I can't say he didn't do it, but this is what I will say. I will say that I don't think they had enough evidence to convict him. Right?
They didn't. It was too much reasonable doubt.
It was so much, especially because they only had one witness. Their only star witness, right, was Jay, and he was not credible whatsoever. His story was completely inconsistent, and he was telling, and when he was in court, his story was inconsistent.
Yep.
And they still went with it. His stories alone, with him being inconsistent with his story, should have got that shit thrown out. It should have been a mistrial, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That was the only thing they had. They only had him, and then they tried. Like I said, they tried to what's the word? Use his religion against them, saying that his religion they kill women if they try. You know what I mean?
They did.
Oh, they did. They successfully.
They were successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Jay say he in here, not you, Jay.
What do you say?
Jay Pylon, my man Jay Pylon. Salute to Jay Pylon. Make sure y'all come listen to us on Tuesdays at 8:30. We got one coming up tomorrow. But yeah, so he was just railroaded, in my opinion. He didn't get a fair trial, right? At all. With the inconsistent timeline of the time all this shit was supposed to happen, right? Jay's inconsistent testimony on what happened, the fact that he said he were places that he wasn't, because we know that because of the cell phone records, right?
Somebody that had eyes on Adnan at the time that could have really put it to rest. You know what I mean?
Exactly. On top of that, they had a coroner come and examine, and she had, not rigor mortis. What was it? It's when the blood pools in a certain part of the body, right? So when he looked at the body, he said that that's not where she was originally found or buried.
She was moved.
She was moved there later. Much later, not within a few hours, like much later. On top of that, her car was found in an empty parking lot, like a grass lot, but the grass was cut under the car when they found the car. The cars around it, right? the grass wasn't cut under the cars, but the grass was cut under her car, which means her car it wasn't there until recent when the police was looking for it. These are all these inconsistencies. And again, like I said, guys, it's been a minute since I listened to it. Like I said, I listened to this back in 2015, 2014. And like I said, I wanted to go through and listen to, like, I really thought about going episode by episode and just, listening to some stuff. But I, due to the copyright stuff, I can't. But there's so many inconsistencies with the story, right? I think that it was a grave misjustice done to him. Not like I said, I'm not saying that he did not kill this girl. He maintained his innocence for 23 years, right?
Let's do this too. Not to cut you off, but we need to definitely do a real big shout out to. I think I'm saying her name right, Robbie Chowdhury.
That's his cousin. Yeah. She
championed this man to no end, and I also think she may be coming out with some kind of documentary or maybe a podcast of her own where she is dropping straight facts. Like, she getting ready to clear up and expose and answer a lot of questions about these, inconsistencies and things like that. She did her thing with that. She never put this thing down. And I think that a lot of answers are going to get, put out there when she does her thing.
Yeah, she definitely was riding for her cousin, man. Because right after the Serial podcast ended, she did start her podcast. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, okay. It's already out there. Okay.
Well, she's been doing a podcast for a while, and she was her first 2 seasons on her, about her cousin, but she runs what's called the Innocence Project, where she goes around and she helps, people that might be locked up who might have plead guilty that wasn't really necessarily guilty, but they didn't have enough money to fight the case.
Their options. Yeah.
Right. But it was a grave misjustice done to this kid, man.
It is. That's his life. That's 23 years. What is Adnan, like, how old is he now?
Shit.
I mean,
he's in his, he should be like 41? He might be 40, he might be 41 or 42.
That's over half of his life.
Right.
Gone. And my question now, not to shift the topic, is where does he go from here? I know where I would go.
I know where I would go. I'll be right back in fucking court.
Yeah.
Where my money?
What's owed to this man, that you can't even put a price on what's owed to him. But maybe you can answer a question for me too, because I've kind of been in and out of it. I follow so many groups on Facebook that pertain to this topic of people who are just totally invested in. My Facebook feed went off today about him being freed, and they were talking about he's freed with an ankle monitor until a new trial. Is that facts?
Yeah, that's facts, right? So, let's go back to the what's name. So he's all right. So they saying that the prosecution has 30 days to come up with another case. Should they want to come up with another case to put him back in jail? You know what I mean?
I guess double jeopardy does not apply here.
That's the thing. So I would think because they vacated the case, you shouldn't be able to.
That means that it's overturned.
Yeah, right.
I guess.
But he has an ankle monitor on. The prosecution has 30 days, which they're assholes if they actually go through with that. They don't have enough evidence, right? So the reason why the judge vacated the case is for the lack of evidence.
Exactly.
The lack of evidence, period, full stop. So he's been to court countless times with more receipts proving that he couldn't have done it, right? Or proven to the contrary of their case. And every single time they've shut him down. They shut him down. And that was because of and I'll say his name, Thuru Vignaraja. Was one of the, I guess he was the prosecutor at the time trying to make a name for himself. I think he ran for like county president or some shit like that, or whatever, county executive or whatever. But he was making a name off of the Adnan case. He didn't want to see him get out at all. But he's been to court countless times. You had the Aisha thing where she said, I can testify that he was with me at the bus stop waiting for my boyfriend by the library, which they kept saying he said he was at school, but he was really at the library. The library and Woodlawn High School
right on the
share
property.
the same
Yeah.
parking lot.
The same everything, really.
Right.
I mean, you won't see that. You see the library before you see the school, and it's on the front lawn.
Right,
It's
exactly.
like right there.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up an image of the school, see if they got it. Let's see.
It's like a bittersweet thing, though. I will say that he's out, because it kind of he's out, but it's still like up in the air because let the audacity fall upon the court system to try him again. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, you know, again, we've already discussed over half of his life. Well, half of his life is gone.
Right.
You can't get them years back.
Here we go. That's perfect.
The trauma, you know,
so here we go right here.
Probably endured. It's crazy.
So, all right, guys. So here's the school itself, right? This is the main part of the school. This is the gymnasium and the auditorium. Now, as you can see, right, this is Woodlawn Drive. This is the Woodlawn Library right here, where he said he was at school, right? It's like, no, he wasn't. He was at the Woodlawn Library, right? So this is actually perfect. Let me see. Can I make this bigger? Let me see. Okay, that's weird. Why don't I just go back? Hold on. Whatever. Let's do this. Let me do this. Shit. There we go. Guess no, that don't even work either. God damn. Fuck it. Let's do this. That. All right. So. Okay. I'm hopefully you guys can see it. So check it, right? He said he was at the school. The girl Aisha said that she was with him at the library. Now, the Woodlawn Library and the high school share the same driveway. It shares the same driveway, right? So he literally was not even off school grounds essentially. So when he said he was at school, which a lot of us did when we were at the library, you know, if our parents go, "Where you at right now?" "Well, I'm at the school right now," because we technically was at the school, right? Now what me and my sister was saying is like, there's no way possible that they got out of that parking lot before and got to the school. I mean, got to Best Buy before 2:30, right? I mean, yeah, before 2:30. Now check it, right? This is the school at the time. Now this piece right here wasn't there, but this is the school. It had 3 floors. Depending on what floor they were on, determine how fast they could get out to school, right? Now these two pretty popular kids at the time. I would argue to say that they would get stopped. I know that I got stopped all the time on my way out the door by people, you know, talking or whatever, right? So that means they had to get out of the school, get down. This is the bus loop right here. This is the bus loop, right? Get down, go through here, get down into the parking lot. These are the 3 levels. Actually, it's 4 levels. I forgot about the 4th level. It's 4 levels to the parking lot, right? And when you're coming out of the parking lot, if you don't get out in time, you're gonna get blocked in by the buses, because the buses and the students leave all the same way. We know that she stopped and talked to some friends. The assistant athletic director at the time, Ms. Butler, said she saw her. She came around the bus loop after the buses left, got a snack and left, because she was supposed to meet them at a wrestling match, was it, or something? Because she was like a manager, but she didn't show up.
Right.
And there's no way that she got to Best Buy by 2:30. There's no way possible. So we know that. You know, at least people who went to Woodlawn know that timeline is inconsistent. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of consistencies. But the fact that, you know, 23 years of him maintaining his innocence, 23 years of appealing that verdict. And like I told some friends back in the day, I'm like, after I listened to it, I said, yo, I was like, they didn't have, I said, I'm not going to say that he didn't do it, but they don't got enough evidence to say that he did it. Right? They don't got enough evidence to say that he did it. But the same lack of evidence that they didn't have to say that he did it is the same lack of evidence that was keeping him locked up, because it wasn't enough evidence to prove otherwise, which is sad.
But you definitely had a established alibi by Aisha McLean, I think her name is,
Right.
who definitely, like I said, the fact that his defense actually contacted her to suppress her testimony. I can't stress enough how much the attorney Gutierrez botched this. Like, was she a public defender, or was she an attorney that the family? Shout out to all the public defenders. No shade. But
you talking about
his original attorney, because
she was a legit attorney. She wasn't like a public defender or nothing.
With both documentaries, you listen to the Serial podcast and then you watch the HBO special. The question that kept popping back up in my head is, how did she let this happen?
That was another thing too. I meant to bring that up. She's an athlete, right, guys? And she, as you like, let me pull it back up. Like, he's not that big of a guy. Like me, like in high school, my senior year of high school, I was 225 pounds, 6 feet tall, muscle. Right. Let's go back to this here. He's not that big of a guy, and he's not much taller than her, right? Again, she's an athlete. She played field hockey and all this other shit. You just said, so you telling me that he took her to this parking lot, right? And in the heat of it, she just allowed him to strangle her with some rope. They didn't find any defensive wounds on her where she tried to fight it off. None of that. They didn't find any of that shit. Right, but he was able to just strangle her without any resistance from her. Mm-hmm. It made no sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. No sense whatsoever. That was one of the main things when I heard that. I said, so she just sat there and just took that shit.
Right.
Like, you kidding me, right?
What world are you in?
Right. It's ridiculous, right? I was like, you kidding me on this shit. You know what I mean? So with the demon I say. So we got 40 Love Style. Is her name Asia or was it Aisha?
I believe it was Aisha. I don't know. Let me look. It might have been Asia.
It might have been Asia.
I remember the last name was McLean. I do remember that.
Well. My man Cassius came with the $5 super chat. Says gang, gang, gang. That song you heard in the beginning was my man Cassius Cam, man. Go over to
it's Asia. My apologies.
It's Asia McLean. Appreciate you, 40 Love. The Demon Ad says, hopefully he picked some skills while being locked up. Adjusting to real life is going to be very difficult for someone that has been outside of society for this. That's true.
Look how much has changed with technology and oh my goodness.
Now I know that they said he had got some degrees and stuff while he was, in jail. He had picked up some skills. I know that much. 40 Love says, y'all know your stuff. We appreciate it. Well, we took a big take into it because we went to Woodlawn. So we could listen. We right. Could, and I was there. I wasn't there when this happened. Like I said, February '99. I got to Woodlawn in September '99, and it was already fresh. People were still talking about it. The case was going on at the time. All the students was talking about it. Period. So I was getting information from people on both sides, whether he did it or not, as it was going down. I just forgot about it until another podcast that I listened to started reviewing the Serial podcast, and I was like, "Oh shit, I remember this. This happened when I was at Woodlawn." So, and then being able to go back and listen to the podcast, and then visualize all these places that they said these people were or weren't at, like Patapsco State. Actually, the Patapsco State Park that they said he was at was the one behind Dad House, right? The Best Buy, that's off Security Boulevard, or used to be off Security Boulevard, right? Which wasn't far from Woodlawn, but to still get there, we didn't live far from the Best Buy, and we didn't live far from Woodlawn. And I still couldn't get home. I couldn't get home by 2:30, let alone to the Best Buy by 2:30.
Right.
And I drove.
Exactly.
I drove. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was just listening to it. Oh, he said he was at the school when he was at the library. It's like, no, the library is a part of the school essentially. Yeah, it's the Woodlawn Public Library, but it shares the same parking lot. So we would all say that we had school. Even if we was at the 7-Eleven across the street, we was like, we had school. Because technically we were right there. Right? So it was a lot of, nonsense.
Just Woodlawn Drive.
Right, it's right there. You know what I mean? So that's why we took such an interest into it. But the thing about it is 23 years is a fucking life sentence in itself, right? It's almost like they let him out on good behavior or some shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it also makes you wonder, like, it's like, all right, yeah, let him out. He already, like you said, he already served the time.
Right, because I believe
it's kind of what it seems like.
When the second serial came out, he was already 15 years in.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, it's like, and he maintained his innocence all throughout that time. Other inmates like, nah, yo said he been saying he was innocent. I ain't never heard him slip up, or, you know, because after a while you would think you'd be like, fuck it, yeah, I did that shit. Like, you know, because it's been years.
Right, you reach a point of acceptance.
Like, fuck, yeah, I'm here, man. I ain't never getting out. Yeah, I fucking did it.
Right.
Yeah. He always maintained his innocence. He never did it. He said he never did it.
Because if you listen to the phone calls that he had with, I don't know if you can say her name, but the creator of that podcast that we are currently discussing.
I can say her name.
He was so passionate.
I forgot her name.
Sarah Cohen.
Sarah
Cohen. He was so passionate on those phone calls. I mean, you can hear the frustration in his voice. You can hear this moments where he may have been choking up a bit. You can hear it. He's like, it's almost like, I'm trying to tell you. It's kind of like that. You know what I mean? If anybody wants to go back and listen to it, she had phone conversations with him that you can hear. Right. And the passion in his voice after all that time is still fresh, because he's still every day, new day, waking up, maintaining his innocence. I did not do this. Y'all got the wrong person. And with that being said, while we all fellow warriors and Woodlawn warriors and just the people that's been following, because this gains national attention. Everybody's celebrating right now that he's going to be released this week. Got to kind of keep in mind Haman's family.
Right.
Got to start this process all over again,
because they still maintain that he did it. You know, and understandably so, because they lost their daughter. Right. Mm-hmm. At one point, I was thinking, like, did one of the family members have something to do with it? Because they did not like her dating Adnan.
Definitely wasn't a likable relationship on either side.
Right. They were really strict. They were trying to get him. Her family was fucking strict. They didn't want her talking to or dating anybody outside of their culture. And
the same thing with Adnan's family.
Exactly, but they were a little more
the documentary. Yeah. I speak directly for them.
Right. So let me see. DMW says that is the pisser after all that time. Yeah, bro. Broccoli said that's craziness. Unity One says great discussing. Faith in Islam and submission to our Lord helped Adnan during his incarceration. The most merciful, and all praise goes to Allah, the creator, the provider, and judge of all. We appreciate you joining us, Unity One. He says this brother Adnan is one case we need to continue to put our efforts to vindicating the oppressed that are innocent. Yeah, and his cousin Rabia Chowdhury, she actually has an innocence project, and she has a podcast. It's called Undisclosed. I think that's the podcast. I think it's called Undisclosed. I'm not sure if she's still doing it or not, but I know they had some really great episodes back in like 2015, 16, 17. But she has an innocence project, and it's not just for, Muslims or anything like that. It's for everybody. Anybody that didn't have the money to fight the state, that was innocent, that had to cop a plea, she's in there trying to help them out. And she's a lawyer. They wouldn't even let her in the rehearing when Asia came, when Asia was able to give her testimony. They wouldn't even let her in. She had to sit at the subway down the street. I almost went up to the subway to buy her something to eat, because I was working at State Highway at the time, which was like 3 blocks away. But she said that so many people when I was listening to the thing, so many people bought her something to eat that she had all this food on her table. So, but yeah, she definitely rode out for her cousin, man. DMW says awful, lazy, corrupted detectives and prosecutors. Yeah. The Demonette also says, yeah, we went to Woodlawn, yo. What was the environment like during that time? Woodlawn was one of those schools in the county that was definitely a hood school, yo.
You ain't never lied.
It was like we literally was on the border with the city, right? But it was one of them county. Like my first day at Woodlawn, somebody got stabbed. Somebody got stabbed in a fight my first day.
But good God,
dead ass serious. Somebody got stabbed my first day at Woodlawn. It was craziness. I mean, we had friends and stuff like that. I played football, I wrestled, so I was one of the jocks or whatever. But I consider myself nerdy because I was smart. but like yeah, it was it was just it was a hood school, yo. It was a hood school, you know. We had good teachers that looked out for us and stuff like that, but like it wasn't the best. You know, it wasn't the worst either, but it wasn't the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it was, you know, par for the course, right? It's, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not the school per se. Most of the time, it's the student. If you want to do well and you want to, you know, stay on the right track and you got that in you, you'll stay on the right track despite where you are. So luckily, me and my sister stayed on the right track and we got out of there. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, it helps that our father looks like Thanos, but
yeah, exactly. We wasn't fucking with that dude back in the day. My father at 36. Nah, boy. I remember one day my father was like, I think I was talking back. No, I was being sarcastic, and my sister gonna fucking point that shit out, and he didn't know no better. And then he was like, you know what? He said, me and you went to go to blows. I'm like, shit, you gotta catch me first, bro. Oh, I'm shit. You gonna run me down before you gonna earn this ass whooping. You gonna run me down, bro. Straight up. Shit. But anyway, I appreciate you helping me out, sis. I appreciate you bouncing this with me. So
no problem. Thanks for putting some light on it, you know, because it's definitely a great day for everybody that supports him.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
And like I said, guys, I'm telling you guys, go and listen. Go and listen to the Serial Podcast. Go watch the case against Adnan Syed. I'll be like, I'm interested, you know, and then come back and revisit this stream and just leave a comment. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think he is innocent? Do you think he's guilty? Do you think there was lack of evidence to even convict him in the first place? You know, let me know. You know, I'm interested to know. Maybe we'll revisit this in 30 days and see if the prosecution decided to be some assholes and retry this case. Because I always stood by the fact that they didn't want to let him go, because if they let him go, that's an admission that they fucked up and that they're going to pay him some real money. And I feel like even with this them vacating this what's it called, the conviction due to lack of evidence is what the judge said, and that it was she was upholding, you know, justice. She told me like she think that the prosecution fucked up back then too. And if that's the case, they owe him some restitution. My God. I'm just saying.
He might not need no skills if he did that check.
Right. So, anyway, I appreciate it, sis. I'll holler at you.
No problem. Thanks for calling. I'm going to go tend to my Sesame Street watching children.
Bye.
Bye.
That's my sister, everybody. Give her a Dom DeMarco. Anyway, I appreciate you guys rolling with me. I'm going to get out of here. But like I said, if you're new, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification icon to let you know when I got new content coming out. Please share this stream. Let people know we were live. If you're catching a replay, leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. I can use that constructive criticism. The question of the day is, do you think Adnan Syed is innocent, guilty, or do you think that they never had a case in the first place? Let me know. And like I said, if you want one of these cool Hotep shirts, donate directly to me. Cash App, Canon Hotep. Leave your email and then go to canonhotep@gmail.com. Leave either the color shirt you want, which is going to be white with black, or black with silver, and your name and your address and where you want it to be shipped to, and I will take care of that for you as a thank you for supporting the channel. Anyway, oh man, my man Kawhi 89 with the $4.99 super chat. He just drops a super chat and then walks away. I appreciate you. Anyway, this Canon Hotep saying, stay safe, stay well, stay strapped. Go re-listen to Serial, guys. I'm interested to know what you guys think. I'll holler at y'all.